happy to do that. Okay, so welcome to TAG Contributor Strategy. So not sure about the different points, because I know what the different groups are like. I don't know who put what point in there. So like, is that
I don't know either.
supposed stuff that I'm just reading out loud with the
just
liaison?
pick an item, and if somebody has something to say, they'll say it.
Okay, so well, we have a new TOC liaison. Yeah.
No, we have two new ones.
Two new ones.
So
yeah,
our previous liaisons were Matt Farina, Katie Gamanji, and Kathy Zhang. And with the new TOC, the liaisons have all rotated. And now we have Emily Fox and Dave Zolotuski. I just found out about that this morning, so I did ping them to let them know about the meeting, but I'm not surprised they're not here. Since
to
they
be fair,
heard about it less than an hour ago.
That change happened like yesterday.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to be able to roll these out through KubeCon. Welcome to people. Yay.
Yep. But in the meantime, in the next month, if you need a liaison to approve something, ping Dave and Emily rather than our previous liaisons.
Okay, so they approve stuff? Because I don't know the role of the liaisons.
So that actually is a great topic, and that'll be discussed next week at the TAG chairs and TOC meeting. We've got like a whole here's the role of like the liaisons, here's the role that you can expect here, and hoping to be able to get a little bit more clarity for folks.
And then Josh or Don will report that back here. Okay, cool.
It's an open meeting, actually, like totally open meeting.
Okay.
We're basically going to run it exactly like a TOC meeting. It's going to be delightful.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that someone else can go, because I have multiple conflicts. It's on Tuesday.
Welcome to KubeCon.
I'll be there.
On Tuesday?
I'll duck out of the I'll duck out of the Kate's contributor thing and go.
Perfect. Let me know if you need an invite, or if you don't have it on your calendars and you need it to be.
It's on my calendar.
I would love one. I would love one, please. I'll put my email in there.
Yeah,
drop your email.
I think it is on the public scene. I think it's on the public CNCF calendar too, but I'm not sure.
If it's not, I can make it so.
Okay. And so, by the way, Dave, for a working thing is, we need TOC liaison approval on anything that is going to potentially be seen as coming from the CNCF collectively.
Gotcha.
So, for example, if we have a brand new advisory document, or a brand new template that we're going to put up, our liaisons need to sign off on it, because once it's published on contributor.cncf.io, it's sort of official.
Sure, that makes sense.
But things like if you're scheduling an MC, it's good to tell the liaisons about it, so hopefully they publicize it, but they don't need to approve it.
Okay, and then so Jay and Rian started working on the TAG contributor strategy roadmap. I don't think we have them here. So you can see the visuals and some thoughts on it for discussions. So yeah, just check out links. Or anyone here that knows a little bit about it that can provide context? Or
yeah, I can. We had an open issue because we realized the other week that we wanted to create content that made recommendations on how to create a roadmap and what should be in it and stuff like that. And then, it was accurately pointed out that our tag doesn't have a roadmap. So, we've been collecting thoughts from all the working groups on like what they're working on, what are they hoping to accomplish. We recently talked about this at the last governance working group too. And so people were looking at, Rian mainly was looking at tidying that up and making an official roadmap for us that kind of understands like the tag level stuff and the working group level efforts. Yeah, but it's still like in progress. So please like review it and take a look at it, but it's still evolving.
awesome. And then we also have a new start contributing to open source doc. Maybe we can link to that page as well, which is, provides a really nice overview for everyone who wants to get started. So I think it's a very important resource. And Carolyn, you said like we need a plan to recruit leads and contributors.
Yeah, this keeps coming up every meeting that I show up to. We've had the same people in leadership since this group was founded That was January of 2020, and no one knew what they were getting into signing up for a long-term group like this. And there had been mention in the past of like, I think Josh, you said this a couple times, that really we should be rotating every 1 to 2 years or some type of schedule like that, so it's not the same group all the time. And then my own personal observation is that our leadership is tapped out, and we don't actually have sufficient people to staff the things that the TOC is asking for of us at this point. So we do have like open calls on a couple fronts to get more people in leadership and just doing work, you know. Because I feel like at this point we like people show up to meetings every week, but we don't have the bandwidth to do a lot more than that and like significantly move things forward. So when the new initiative was brought up about the like graduation milestones and leveling and things like that, we discussed this with Amy and other people, and we're like, we need to tap someone outside of the current leadership to take over this and run that effort. So I was just trying to bring that up here because we keep mentioning it and then we never have any action items for how to recruit and address this. And I feel like it's visibly causing our group trouble at this point.
Well, I think that
Plus one to all that. I mean, I think some of the work that Catherine's been doing around like promoting the tag and trying to get more people to contribute. And, I've been putting plugs for tag contributor strategy into some of my talks as well. I'm hoping that we can, and we do have some new people who I think will eventually grow into some of the leadership positions, which I think will help, but it's something we need to continue to work on. I mean, you're absolutely right. We should be talking about this in the meetings on a regular basis.
The other thing I'm going to say is that it's probably time to start drafting some role documentation. Because part of this, we just had somebody recently say, I might be interested in taking on this role, but what's involved? And that's what role docs are for, because that way people actually know what they're potentially stepping into. And importantly, if they're doing it on work time, they can take it to their boss and say, hey, I want to do this, and it's going to require this many hours. So start out by opening some issues.
Yeah. The other thing I've noticed, I'm sorry.
Figure out what roles we have and open issues for role docs.
I think we should also understand who is a good fit for some of these roles, because nearly to a fault, everyone who's reached out since we've kind of put out a couple public feelers for who's interested in helping have been people who have never engaged with this group.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Caroline. That's why I'm here, is because you pinged and I responded to your contributor growth chair thing, and so I'm sort of here because I will have time shortly to do that and help with that, but I have not been in the contributor strategy working groups in any way, shape, or form. Just watching patiently.
So speaking of which, howdy, Diane. Do you know everybody here? Or do we need to do a round of introductions?
I don't know everybody here. There's a few new faces to me. I know Dawn and I've seen Carolyn's work all over the place. And Catherine, I think I've met somewhere in the past, and Amy I know, but Ali, okay, and Dave Suda, Nate, and Rian, I don't know.
Okay, we want to introduce ourselves and we'll do a round. If you want to start by introducing yourself, and then we'll do a round.
All right. Hi, Diane Mueller. I'm the Director of Community Development for the Hybrid Cloud group over at Red Hat, and the founder of OpenShift Commons and the head of one of the co-chairs of the OKD working group, which is the distribution of OpenShift. That's the open source side of things. And I've been at lots of KubeCons and CNCF projects and mentored a lot of people. So yeah, that's me.
I'm Dave Sudia. I'm currently a developer advocate at Ambassador Labs. We have telepresence and emissary in CNCF. And before I was doing that, I was in DevOps. I was an end user for many years and spoke at KubeCons and went to a bunch of them, but was never really engaged in this side of CNCF. So this was sort of my first place I wanted to step in and try to do things. And I've been doing stuff for a couple months, and I'm currently making a valiant effort to do maintainer circles. I don't know if I'm succeeding.
I'm Rian. I'm with II in New Zealand. I'm mostly on Kubernetes projects, but hanging out with the contributor and helping where I can with doing some issues.
I can go next. My name is Ali. I live in Istanbul. I work for Red Hat. I work on Knative, so I'm an engineer working on Knative eventing more specifically, and also in Red Hat downstream OpenShift serverless. So I'm helping out with the Google Summer of Code. Well, I started like that, but I'm thinking about maybe I can do more. So I'm trying to be more active in the mentoring working group part of this tag.
And we appreciate it. Hello, I'm Nate. I work at the CNCF with Amy. There I'm a developer advocate, and my two primary roles there are one, I help projects organize and write their documentation, and I help run the mentoring programs. I'm a co-chair of the mentoring working group here. I work with Ali, who's one of our GSOC administrators, and another fellow, Jay Tiaki, is the other co-chair who's not here today. And I see a lot of mentoring folks on this call, so I'm always happy to see that.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. And Ali, I have seen your name all over stuff at Red Hat, so it's nice to put a face to it.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, and I think again, it's all about like, I think when I started with the tag, the group was small. So I think like the more, because not everyone who does come to the meetings will want to do like take more responsibility. So the more participant we have, the bigger the pool, right? So I think like the first step is actually growing the our contributor base, right? So we have a bigger pool for people to actually step up. Yeah, and then there's a security review PR from the TAC security, which is.
And before we move on, can I just do one more thing for the previous item?
Okay, sure.
We had put out a call to the TOC. They had asked for a someone from the tag, like a new working group, to run a leveling task force, is what we're calling it at the moment. And so we put a call back to the TOC, putting out a recommendation and saying we need someone to help run this. And Amy, I think we had talked about forwarding this to the ambassadors. Are we ready to move on to that step and see if they're interested, or is that
No,
not
because
the plan
they launch
anymore?
at KubeCon. So give it a minute.
Okay.
We
Great.
do not yet have, like, they are currently in soft launch. They will be like the full and wonderful announcements at KubeCon. So after KubeCon, we can reach out to the ambassadors. For the moment, but it's it.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yep, rock roll.
Okay, so is that supposed to be like a call to action to look at it, I guess?
I'll give myself a note to follow up after KubeCon, and we'll see. The idea for pulling from ambassadors is a lot of them have experience being maintainers, running projects, understanding how to do a lot of the type of like skills that we're looking for someone in this role.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, the tax security PR, that is to a call to action to review it, right? Here. I don't know who added that.
Yeah, I think we've finally gotten a TOC review, and I think there's just some unresolved comments, but if anyone would like to take a look as well, we always encourage reviews from everyone. This is security guidelines for projects who are looking to go, where do I start with security? And it kind of points to various documentation and best practices we have for securing CNCF projects.
Okay, and then Paris set community management strategy graduation requirements, and
hold on, I'm gonna interrupt just briefly. Google Docs is freezing on me. So if someone can help with notes for whom Google Docs is not freezing.
Yeah, I can do.
Awesome. So Paris, floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I wanted to continue conversations for a super old issue that I had filed a while ago about a graduation requirement for projects to get some kind of community management strategy. We see a lot of graduated projects today struggle in this area. And I think that it's due to not being intentional with who does what, when, where, why, as far as community management is concerned. I think a lot of smaller projects don't necessarily have this issue, or maybe they do, and that's how and why their maintainers get burnt out or overwhelmed. It's things like moderation, posting on Twitter, I mean, everything that a community manager would do, especially the constant outreach for new contributors, onboarding new contributors, et cetera, et cetera. We had paused because we had not done a lot of the guidance yet and did not have a lot of that guidance in the form of templates and things like that. And I think that it would be really cool if we could start this conversation up again. I did make a lot of changes to the HackMD. Carolyn and Josh had commented on a few things. I answered those in the doc itself. I may not have answered you in the comments, which I just realized now, and I apologize. I should have answered you directly on the comments instead of just making the edits to the doc. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of see what we thought about that.
But so first, let me say welcome back, Paris.
Oh, I never left. I've been lurking.
Okay.
To these meetings.
Yes. I've been lurking on your docs as well. I just haven't been here live.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say one thing that this tag needs to do, as part of this is to actually sort of put stuff together in form of having an example community management strategy, for a project, something that we can point to because, I know projects that we took this to now would say, yes, that sounds like a great idea. What does one look like?
Well, it's in the doc. I've got that
Yeah.
SIG contributor, form a SIG, or get a sponsor or a vendor to hire a community manager. Or, I mean, and we have several projects that do all of the above. So, I mean, we have projects that we can point to that have intentional community management strategies. Then we have other groups that have like dev advocates who serve in roles that are sort of like this. So we do have things that we can point to already. And I was actually hoping to do a maintainer circle session in the next couple of months on this topic where I would present the strategies, and then different projects can present what they've been doing as far as this is concerned. Like Helm had Karen Chu, and still does as like a maintainer role as a single community manager. Kubernetes as the SIG. Open Telemetry has a few community managers that are supported by their sponsoring companies. So I think that we do have plenty of, things that we could point to from the community itself that aren't just necessarily like SIGs or what have you. I mean, and there's then there also is the intentional strategy of maintainers taking on the roles and knowing that they have to take on these types of activities. I think that when people start open source projects, they don't necessarily think about all of these things that they're eventually going to have to maintain. And that kind of bogs things down a little bit for them. So it's just that intentional piece that I think is missing with the forethought of oh, eventually our project's going to graduate and it might be super large or it might be small, but regardless of the size, we should prepare them for what's ahead.
Well, first, I want to say that I think doing a maintainer circle sounds like a great idea. Dave?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something we can line up in the next couple of months. And I mean, Doris, you've done it more than me at this point, I think, anyways, but we can definitely circle up on it.
Yeah. The ideally, we would be able to actually set a date now, which I realize is challenging. But the advantage of that is that it's then something we could mention to people at KubeCon. But we also want the date to be far enough in the future that we can publicize it online heavily, because obviously the projects we need to reach the most are the ones who don't have anyone assigned and are therefore the hardest projects to reach.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, go ahead. Let someone start talking. I was just thinking, like, if especially if we are going to make it a requirement, it'd be good to sync up the timeframes of that, like do this several months before it becomes a requirement, so that you can say, please attend this thing so you can learn about what you should do, you know, before it becomes a requirement, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to actually have the maintainer circle partly also so that we can get some direct feedback from projects that we don't, you know, personally necessarily hear from. Particularly, like I said, projects that don't have anybody assigned, and how this would affect them. So I also see the maintainer circle as a potential feeder into what the eventual requirement would look like.
Sure, gotcha.
Do you think we could actually put something on the calendar for, you know, say June? You want to do it earlier, late May? I wouldn't go earlier than late May, because like I said, we do need to get the word out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any other ones hard scheduled right now, so that works for me. But
okay, let's hammer this out after the meeting on Slack. And if it's in any way possible, I'd like to put it on the schedule before we have our tag session at KubeCon, and start staffing the kiosk, because it gives an opportunity for us to mention it to projects that we talk to who come to us with community growth problems, which is something that happens at KubeCon.
yeah, and it feeds well too, because since the whole theme of the KubeCon one is engaging with end users, like there's some symmetry there, and there might be people coming who this would be good for as well, that if they show up for this MC, then we can just promote it directly to them.
I've heard people say a couple times projects without someone assigned, but it's not clear to me what that means by assigned.
Probably meaning in an actual titled community manager role.
Oh,
okay. Which I think is only one type of strategy. I don't think that's an exhaustive list of, I don't think it's an exhaustive solution to the issue. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I'm trying to present, is that, you know, there's more ways to eat a Reese's, and you know, more ways to do this. Like, I definitely think like the group of people doing community management, like a SIG or, you know, a working group or something for very large projects, like over 1,000 people, is probably the best way to go. And then the smaller projects, though, is where we get into the challenge of probably needing either one person or maintainers who are completely aware and build into their own maintainer roles certain community management responsibilities. Like one person takes, you know, community growth and outreach, you know, another maintainer takes XYZ things. But yeah, just I'm assuming that's what folks mean when they say, you know, when they say that, Carolyn.
Okay.
Well, yeah, when I was saying it, there's also another very common thing, which is one of the maintainers who's often also often a code maintainer, has kind of self-appointed themselves to be in charge of community affairs.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what Paris was saying.
Yeah. And that last one I found to be a very unstable situation, because what often happens is that person leaves for whatever reason. And because the role was never official, nobody steps in to fill it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that's like the last on the rung of things that work, for sure.
Yeah, and I will say I know we have projects in CNCF that don't have even that.
100%.
They don't even have one of the technical maintainers who's taking care of community stuff. So
Yeah.
basically, they take care of community stuff when the filed issue gets to be 9 months old.
Yeah.
And not
Yeah, I mean, and
before
some
that.
of them are graduated now. So I mean, I'm not here to
Yeah.
name and shame them, because there's no shame involved, in my opinion. But we definitely are seeing this play out in extremely negative ways in some projects right now. And I feel like we should definitely look out for projects that are sandbox and incubation phase. I don't think that this needs to be implemented in sandbox by any means. I don't even necessarily think this needs to be fully implemented in incubation, but I definitely think by the time they hit that application button for graduation, then whatever strategy they pick should be implemented. But definitely sandbox would be sort of a learning environment, and then incubation would be okay, let's get prepared if we don't already have this. And then graduation is, we have this. But I mean, there is a lot of value to a sandbox project figuring this out in the beginning, especially as they are growing, and there's such a big responsibility of a community manager in that growth cycle. But again, lots of variables and things that are at play there.
Okay, any other thoughts on that before we move to the groups? Okay, let's
So
go.
Paris, I'm sorry, I'm
Go ahead.
really slow on the mute button today. Paris, so what are the action items? How can we help move this forward and restart it? There's that HackMD. I can go back through and like look at your updates, but is there anything more concrete?
Yeah, no, I would say definitely HackMD, and then maintainer circle with I guess just help with getting the word out. I'll write the abstract and recruit the players, and prepare and work with Dave and things like that. But outside of that, I guess then once everybody is kind of keen on that, I guess then we can invite Emily and Dave into the conversation once everybody here is at the same kind of level and page that we need everybody to be, like everybody's for this. Invite them into the conversation, and then I guess whatever the next step is for TOC to get something into graduation requirements.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry, I'm bugging people about this, but I'm updating the action items at the top of this.
No, I love it. Thank you. And I appreciate that. That helped me get my mind right too.
And I actually forgot to look at the action items before the beginning of the meeting, which we introduced before, but we'll do that at the end. Okay, so mentoring working group. Nate, do you want to?
Hello. I think there's a lot of praise to go around. We've gone in and made some fairly major updates to the CNCF mentoring repo. So big thanks to Rian and Jay for doing the lion's share of the writing updates there. Thanks to Josh and Ali and Carolyn for doing a lot of review on that. Really appreciated. I think that the flow of that is now much better for people trying to figure out what to do next. So I'm really happy with that one having landed. So thanks everyone for all the support on that. Quick update on LFX mentorship stuff, terms 1 and 2. We're right in the middle of midterm evals for term 1. We've got a few, there's always a couple that the evals are coming in late, so I'm following up on those. We unfortunately have had 2 folks already receive failing evaluations or assessments. So I will follow up with those folks and both the mentees and the mentors to see sort of what happened and see if we can see if there's any support that the mentees need or whatnot. Yeah, so I'll be sending out the new, well, I'll be sending out the positive eval notifications, and there's actually a new process for the mentees to get paid. So I'll be including that in the email that goes out as well. For term 2, we updated the date, the due date for proposing a project. We pushed that out to May 3rd. Gives us about an extra week, and that was because we had a bit of a conflict with KubeCon this next week. A lot of people are thinking about KubeCon instead of thinking about mentorship, so we pushed that out, and that gives us time to get that into the April maintainers newsletter as well. It also pushes it further past the GSOC ranked proposals deadline, I believe. So we should know if by the time this proposal due date hits, the projects who have applied for Google Season Summer of Code should know if they've been selected, been given a slot or not. And I think just about all of the GSOC projects can be almost one-for-one brought over to LFX if they are declined. And speaking of Google Summer of Code, we're currently in the ranked proposals phase. Ali and I are going through them. Is there anything else that we need to speak on for GSOC, Ali?
No, all good. Oh.
That's the update. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, one thing that you can get out of this, if you end up in the process of taking unsuccessful GSOC profiles over to LFX, is see if one of the things you get out of that is sort of a generic format that we could use regardless of platform that contains all the information we need for all the different platforms.
It's interesting you mentioned that. I've actually, as I've been doing this, I have been modifying the LFX proposal form to more closely mirror the Google one. So I think I agree. I think that's a good idea, and that's something we should look into.
Okay, contributor growth. I see the announcement of Rian. Anything else you want as a facilitator? So very excited about that. Anything else? Yeah. Carolyn, maybe like that's it, I guess. Okay, then let's move to governance. Who wants to take that? I think Josh is looking for the mute button.
Yeah, it could be either of us.
I missed the meeting, so I think Josh.
Well, we've got on there, Emily came to us, Emily and Katie came to us with this thing about this thing, I guess that's now called Project Leveling Task Force, which is the idea of having a sort of evaluation of the matriculation levels of how projects move through the matriculation levels of CNCF. And you know what's working, what's not working, etc. Which has not been done since the CNCF was created, so probably about time. And that's happening on the TOC level. But once they, you know, with our feedback and once they figure out how that's going to be organized, it'll end up being a working group under tag contributor strategy. Just so that you know what's going on. Yeah, and then the other thing is the governance by election. I don't know what the status of that is.
Yeah, I added a link to that. I incorporated everyone's feedback, so I think that that's actually probably ready for liaison review unless anybody has anything else they want me to change first. So maybe Josh and Carolyn, if you could just take a quick pass through that and make sure you don't see anything else, I can ping our new liaisons and ask them to do a review when they get a chance.
Yeah.
Although given that it's 2 days before KubeCon and one of ours is the KubeCon chair, I think maybe we'll just wait on that liaison review until after.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we're ready for that. I think you can go ahead and ping them, and just the reality is
Okay.
that won't necessarily happen right away.
Yep, we'll do.
Okay. And so, by the way, that's the documentation for the template, not the advisory doc on the longer advisory doc on how to run an electionary open source project in general, which I'm still working on and will not get done until well after KubeCon. So
Yeah, this one's just how to use the template. Do's and don'ts.
Yep. Okay, it's all for governance.
Okay, awesome. That brings us to maintainer circle. Dave.
Yeah, so OTEL maintainers are going to be doing the one at KubeCon. We're all set up. There's a posted maintainer circle that can be republished in other channels in CNCF Slack. Also, feel free to copy paste it. I also just replied in a thread. Thank you, Josh, for making that more link friendly. So I replied in a thread to that post with the link, so that can be shared directly. Yeah, I'm going to be sharing it in like the ones that I know, but any other ones that people know, please send it out. The one thing is, so on the last time I tried to do this, Amy, I just wanted to get clarity. The instructions say, ask Amy to send an email out to maintainers. And then last time you were like, yeah, I was waiting for you to do that, Dave. So that looked like a great email to send. So I don't know where to send it to because I'm not actually a maintainer anywhere. And I don't, this is the first time I'm doing this. So
is where that should go. The technical oversight list is a totally open list, and it's the best place that people are kind of keeping track of just various CNCF things. It's where we announce TOC meetings, so that would be the best place to be able to do it. If you want this to be open, yes?
It's for maintainers specifically,
okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
And Josh might give me clarity here.
Yeah, it's for maintainers specifically, and so that's been the reason why historically we have not included it on the public KubeCon calendar. Somebody actually queried that this time around. And Dave, you were going to talk to them about whether or not they had any ideas of how we could have it, because I mean, obviously there would be benefit to having it in the KubeCon calendar, but we've never seen how we could do that without ending up with spectators.
I used to put,
yeah.
I've done it before, and we just put maintainers only, please. And I did tell people no at the door. So there, I would sit at the door and kind of just say like, what project are you maintainer of, and just let people in accordingly.
Yeah, I'm happy to bounce. So is it too late to add it to Sketch? Because Rin, who's running it, was the one who's the host.
It is too late to add it to Sketch. Like everything is totally
yeah. I kind of figured at this point, but we can. But that's good to know for Chicago. But so I guess my functional question is, how do I send something to the TOC list? Like I don't know where to find that. Like it's very new to all.
Yeah.
What's the email?
I mean,
is it just toc@cncf.io?
Yeah, I put a subscription link in your DMs.
Oh, okay, my DMs, great, thank you. Like, I just don't know what the email is, so I will look for that in my DMs. Thank you.
I would also, I used to go into every Slack channel of every graduated and incubated project and put it there as well. It's a lot, but many of them are in the CNCF Slack, so that was a little easier, but it was helpful to do that direct. So then you knew that the work was out and and hit them all, kind of thing.
Cool. I will do that as well. There it is. Okay, great. Thank you, Josh. Sorry, I have too many tabs open and coming back. Yeah, and then the other thing is, I was so with all the chat happening between Nate and Paris over here, I was gonna say, Nate, would you be able to do the mentoring one in May? Otherwise, I will try to find a different one for May, since we now have the community management for June.
So May, I can do mid to late May, I think.
Okay,
But
great. And so the one thing there's, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just looking at my calendar. I think I can do something after the 15th.
Okay. And then the trick there was you were going to talk about the structure of it in the first half, and then you were going to find a mentor to talk about the experience in the second half. So, and I mean, I'm open to the structure too. So if you and Paris want to talk about a different way or a specific angle to put on it or something, like, I'm good. Especially if we're going to do it latter half of the month, we can just work the rest out in Slack.
And my idea would probably be totally different than what Nate would be talking about, because it sounds like Nate would probably be focused on GSOC and LFX. Mine is how to mentor people into roles that are not junior, specifically reviewers and maintainers. And we do that in other projects through group mentoring tactics and shadow programs. I firmly believe that's how we scale versus one-on-one mentoring. And so I wanted to really focus a maintainer circle session on those topics. So that's why I said I would, Nate, I'll come to a mentoring group and talk to y'all about some of these programs and how we can get more education around this and how there's more ways to mentor and come up with mentoring programs than just the traditional.
I think that's fantastic. And that's actually one of my, in the CNCF, we have sort of individual goals for ourselves for the year for individual employees, and expanding out and helping build out programs around growing contributors, growing maintainers in different ways. Like, how do you get from being a contributor to a maintainer? Like that's super important. I would very much enjoy talking with you about that. Just to know, I did drop the link for our next meeting in the chat, but I am on vacation that week, so I actually won't be at that meeting. I'll be at the next one. I'll be at the one after that.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll say that we're doing just the original mentoring one that we talked about before in May, and then we'll look at that one as another idea that we can do sometime past July. Okay, awesome. Then that's me.
Okay. And then KubeCon is coming up, as we've all mentioned, and we all know. We still need volunteers for the kiosk. As you know, we have a kiosk, second time we're doing that. So let me just add the link in the chat as well, in case we have volunteers present. Some are already registered. We don't need a ton, because it's a half day. We need at least one person per slot. We always say it's not really necessary to have two, but it's just nice to have someone keeping, so we're not alone, right? So please sign up if you are there. We are more prepared than last time. This time it was a last minute, so thanks to the people at the CNCF who actually agreed to print out handouts and signs and everything on last minute, because I didn't know where to go. So we'll have that. And yeah, hopefully get to know a few more maintainers that will then pop in and join. And I think, Dave, didn't you say that you met us at the kiosk, or am I imagining it?
I did. Yeah. I'm directly across the hall from the emissary kiosk that I was sitting at. And I'd been intending to come look at this anyways, but it was a very easy way to just be like, oh, hi, Don. Hey, I was going to reach out to you all, but you're right here, so let me just chat with you.
I think if we find one person who becomes like a regular with each KubeCon, that would be a huge success. So,
Yeah. And
yeah,
and on the schedule thing, I'm intending to sign up, but I don't actually know what my schedule is for the other things yet there. So I will be putting myself on probably Monday or Tuesday once I've got.
Okay, awesome, thank you. And then a reminder, Dawn has a keynote, so please make sure to add that on your schedule, right? And then, as you all know, we have a panel discussion. So yeah, please add that to your schedule, be there supporting the team, but also more importantly, let other people know. Because as you know, the audience is smaller when you're targeting maintainers than everyone. So sometimes we need to do a little extra effort. And then question, like, as we did create like the slide for people who are giving different talks, like a call to action slide. So the idea is that if we know people who are presenting at KubeCon, ask them if they could, even if it's a completely unrelated topic, doesn't have to do anything with community or anything. Like if they're giving a talk, it would be great if they could just add at the end of their talk a little slide. It's already there, and just like mention it just in case if there are maintainers present. So we had that in the action items above. Do we have anyone who wants to mention it to someone or any? No one knows anyone who's giving talks? I don't believe that.
I do. I'm going to put it myself.
Okay, great. Well, so the slides are there, and yeah, I mean, like, it's an easy thing because it's really all we need is 30 seconds, right? Like they give all the talk, 30 seconds. Hey, by the way, did you know if you're a maintainer, the stack contributor strategy, bam, here, reach out, like, or here the meeting. And there, I think we added some QR codes or something like that. So all we need is like 30 seconds of their time. If they're like a tag, some contributor strategy friend or friendly, they don't have to be engaged at all. It's just an opportunity to reach out to more people. And then yeah.
Can we go back to one step back to the kiosk schedule? So I think I added my name like in 2-minute slots. So if there's other people interested, it doesn't mean that I don't want to do this. But you know, if you think you want to do this, but you think like the it's already full, just delete my name, add your name. That's fine.
Okay, I think that would be a wonderful problem to have. I don't have the feeling we'll have that problem. So.
Yeah.
But thank you. But thank you
Right,
for
if people
signing up for 2 shifts. I really appreciate
Right,
it.
yeah. For the folks who are going to KubeCon, if you haven't done this before, it's fun because what happens with our kiosk is that the other projects that are in the project pavilion come up to ask us questions about things. So you do get, we get more contact with the CNCF projects for less effort than we will really get anywhere else. Yeah,
because we are in the project pavilion. That's where all maintainers are. Like, you're really at the source. All the people that we always talk how difficult it is to reach them, they're all there. Not all of them, but at least some of them.
It's the best place to be. I spend most of my KubeCon in that pavilion area.
And then just a question, is there any last minute things that we can do to raise awareness about the tag? Like, any ideas? I was just like, can't think of anything. Like, the only thing that came to my mind was like that slide, but.
Yeah, well, I'm about to do a series of posts on Mastodon about all of the things that we're doing at KubeCon. So
what about the to-do group?
Slack for people to rebroadcast.
What about the to-do group?
To-do group?
I know there's a lot of like cloud native OSPO folks that hang out at the to-do group, and I feel like they could be perfect people to help out with the work that is done here, or at least get the word out.
I could put in some plugs in some of the Slack channels. I'm pretty active in some of the to-do group stuff historically.
Yeah. I'm not part of any of those groups, so I would just like refer to. So can we add that like exactly, that was my question, Ali.
Oh, sorry. So the to-do group is the Linux Foundation group that people with open source program offices join. So lots of people that do community management, compliance, which is less relevant to us, but a lot of the community management folks are people with kind of contributor strategy sort of backgrounds. A lot of us work in open source program offices. I work in an open source program office. So yeah, so I'll put that on my to-do list to do tomorrow.
Awesome.
There's also a group that I belong to called MetaGov. I don't know if you all have ever heard of that. And that is all about like there's a professor at Boulder University that runs that group, and it's all about co-ops and community role and decentralized governance. It does attract, of course, a lot of cryptocurrency folks, which I won't say because we're recording. But anyway, but there are a lot of other community management types that hang out in there that are also cloud native that that could be interested, and I might be able to, I can probably drop a note in their Slack channel too. And then I can think about some other groups that I'm a part of that focus on open source governance. That could be interesting as well.
Yeah, perhaps also the chaos Slack channels. That they're doing a lot of work around contributor health and things like that. And there's a lot of us there too as well.
Yeah, I
that's a
think
good idea.
it doesn't hurt. Like whatever, you know, it's an easy thing too, right? It's like 2 minutes, not even. So cool, let's do that. And then I think I assume Nate added here the mentorship office hours and tech talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just doing, it's a free form. If you have questions about mentorship, a few of us will be in a room answering said questions. So it's not exactly a talk, but it reminds me of back in university when I was TA. I would sit in a room and students would come by and ask questions. Same sort of style here.
Okay. Great. And then I think Rian, you posted you moved the point down because you weren't there. We kind of touched upon it, but you were not there about the tag contributor strategy roadmap.
Yes, sorry, I had another meeting that ran late.
No. I'm just saying.
All right, so what Jay and I did is we trying to help with, like we did with mentoring, doing the tag contributor strategy website, GitHub. So we basically made the roadmap visual of what we see and thoughts about the roadmap, what we're thinking, what to do. And for that, we started cleaning up the README. So thanks for everybody that reviewed and it's merged. So I see Caroline noted there that, yeah, I want to keep the front page as simple as possible. So I want to move the historical people, but I don't want to offend anybody by moving the people off the front page. I'll put a little tag there about here's all the great people that got us started and helped previously, something like that. If there's no objections, I'll make the next PR for that.
I love the idea of emeritus README. Let's do it.
All right, I'll do that. And then I think in the next meeting after KubeCon, there's not much time left. We can discuss the roadmap things, what we can do there once we cleaned up the README. And then a question about in the getting started guide, we removed Contributor because there wasn't consensus whether we should or shouldn't have it inside the getting started guide because Contributor is fairly new. So I just brought it here. So get some feedback. Do we put it in? I'm happy to just put that commit back in if everybody wants it there.
Any thoughts?
If we go.
I'm a little confused on what's the proposed change to this one. Is it just what's outlined in 344?
Yes, in 344. Sorry, I didn't put hyperlink for 344. So basically, what we did is there in this getting started guide, there was a reference if you want looking for issues that you can work on, just be sure to visit Contributor. And there was some questions: should we put this in? This is fairly new, maybe not. And there was other support that yes, we think we should have it. And to stop it from, or not to block it from merging, I've took it out and
Oh,
put it in an issue for later discussion. Do we want it in or not? So I could make a PR for that, and maybe we discuss it in the PR if there's thoughts on it.
yeah, I think that makes sense. And the other piece was the roadmap. So like just doing those in 2 separate PRs when we're ready sounds good. So we can isolate the change and not have anything blocked on discussion of unrelated things.
Yeah. The getting started is actually for the getting started page. So it's not related to the roadmap, and then the roadmap. We're still some ways off. I think we need more discussion before we make the roadmap. So thanks for the feedback.
Okay, and
That's
then
me. Thank you, Raj.
thank you. And then the tag video is finally live, so you can click on the link, watch it, and share. Like finally, it was published. And then again, we added action items above, so everyone, like hopefully we capture most of them. So please make sure that everything you propose to do, that you don't forget about that. You can always come and check here and check them off once they're done. I think that's it because we don't have more time anyway. So like this is 2:00, like exactly sharp. So I would say thank you so much, everyone, and see you at KubeCon. Or
Thanks, everybody.
See you at KubeCon if you're
everybody.
going, and if
Cheers.
not, see you around other
Thanks.
places. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All
Bye-bye.
right.
Thanks,
Cheers.
everybody. Bye.